All right. Thanks, Aditya, Preeta, and Roban. I think initially Roban has reached out to me regarding the Vision 2023, which is going to happen. Just give me a second. I'm sharing the wrong slide. Yeah. So initially, Roban has reached out to me asking if I'll be able to attend Vision 2023 because during the year 2013 I was the vice president of Vision, and we were conducting the Vision 2013, and we had a hard year during that time because there were like a lot of strikes and other things. And I was like very happy that Roman has reached out to me regarding inviting that Vision 23. And thanks, Preeta, Aditya, for reaching out to me to enable talk to you guys about this placement talk so that I can also share my experience, because I feel that this is something which we like during those times. This is something which we couldn't able to facilitate or reach out to our seniors and get these kind of sessions arranged. So I think this is a kind of good opportunity for the people who are like professionals working in the industry, and they can directly talk to the college students or like to the people who are going to attend the placements. So with that, I can start with this. So I can start with some kind of self-introduction about myself. So myself, Harrish Thangavel. So I'm basically from Karur, Tamil Nadu, and I did my engineering in like a CEG. I started my engineering in 2009, same department as you in ECE, and I graduated in 2013. Um, Then during the campus placements, so I got placed in Tesco, and I was working with Tesco in Bangalore for 5 years, like around close to 5 years. Then during these years, around an year, I was in like Tesco headquarters in UK, and my role, like altogether in this whole 10 years of professional life, is all about the software development experience. So I have involved in like different stages of software experience and software development. And around 2018, so I started giving out like different interviews, and that is when I joined Microsoft. And from 2018 around September time, I'm working with Microsoft. And yeah, I was working with Microsoft Hyderabad, and there are like I'm right now part of Azure and Cloud division in Microsoft, and we mainly take care of the financials part, which is Microsoft Financials part. And probably I can just deep dive into as we go through the session. So this is on a brief introduction about myself. Then just going on to the next one. So this agenda, so I have just scheduled it so that initially there will be an introduction, then it is about the journey as how I have come across, and it is what are the learnings from me, or which I have to pass on to, like if I have to pass on to the younger generation, what are the learnings which I have to pass on to. And then Microsoft culture and Microsoft values. I'll probably have like a couple of slides which I'll touch on that. And also, like Preeta was asking about how is the day at Microsoft looks like, as what are your roles and responsibilities. So I will also cover like few minutes on that part. And also finally on the key takeaways, like what are the key takeaways which we have, like starting from giving the interviews, or like preparing the resumes, or like how as an interviewer we'll kind of evaluate on like different things. So we'll also touch upon these things so that which will be helpful for you. And also there are other key takeaways which I have put, so which we'll probably cover on this session. So with that, I can just get started. So my journey starting from like starting from schooling is like not 100%. I'm like not a studious student, and I'm not a 9 pointer or 8 pointer as such. So I have started my like engineering around the year 2000, and when I have started my engineering, so I was like I have been like kind of studious student till my school, but all my college life I wanted to enjoy and have fun is how I have entered the college life. So I put curriculum as just one part of it. So, and I wanted to have an experience across different things. So when I go out of the college, I wanted to have like a different. So I have wanted to have my fingers put into different places across is what my initial thought was. So only on the subjects learning is just one part of it, right? So and that is how I have started, and right, we know as how the first sem looks like. The entire education system is like completely different from how we do the schooling and how we enter the engineering. So as I was saying, like I was not a studious student. I was a kind of average student during the first, like during my whole tenure of engineering. So I started around like 2009, and during the second sem, I have got an arrear in signals and systems. So and it took me like couple of semesters to clear that arrear. Then again, I was being like I was always the last bench student. Like I always occupy the last bench or like last couple of benches during my colleges, and used to use the phone and never listen to the class. So it is basically the a kind of people whom they will usually show it in the movies. So it is mostly like that. And my CGPA like till sixth semester was somewhere around close to 7 CGPA, and I have basically put the arrears in here so that I just wanted to let people or let you guys know that like even for securing a good job at like top tech companies, you don't need to be a kind of 8 pointer or 9 pointer, or you don't need to score a distinction, is what I wanted to put here. So then during my third semester, I was being made a class representative, so for my whole class. And my like department staffs were like very surprised to see being an area student, being a class representative. So it is like bit difficult, and to handle that situation and things are like very different. And I couldn't able to kind of cope up with the expectations from the staffs and the kind of our students, because being a kind of last bench students, the expectations are like a little different. So you kind of used to pay attention to the things, right? And I kind of had a clash with like multiple staffs and like mathematics department, and even in like some of our department staff. Then in M3, I have got an arrear. Then again in the fifth semester, we have this DSP, right? So as like you guys already know, that is also like one of the toughest subjects for us as an ECE student. And in fifth semester again, I have got an arrear in like DSP. And the M3 arrear which I have got, so it took me like 3 semesters to clear that. So I kept on appearing. So by around like fifth or sixth semester is when I cleared like all of my existing arrears, and that is when I kind of realized my CGP is somewhere around 7, and that is where the reality kicks in. The placement talks and the reality of life kicked in, as how things progresses and what if we don't get a job and all of it. So during the fifth and sixth semester is when we started realizing, and during the seventh semester is when it kind of hit me hard, as because seventh semester is when the placement starts, right? And I was having a 7 CGPA, and like most of the companies have that filter condition that it should be like more than 7.5 or like more than 8 CGPA. So in like many of the companies, we are like not even allowed to attend the aptitude test itself, right? And so that is when like during the seventh and eighth semester, I kind of focused more into it, and I kind of prioritized this, and I was able to like score like more than 8 or 8.5 around that time. And my CGPA and an overall engineering around this point, like when I have completed, so it is around 7.5 or 7.6, somewhere around that range. And also, like because of my realization, I did an intern in a textile company in my Karur. Like as some of you are aware, Karur is meant for an like a textile industry where are like different textile companies are on there. So even though it is like completely different domain altogether, I just wanted to go there and see as how the businesses work, how they handle the different clients. So I was being a part of the communication teams over there, and I was interacting with like different clients in different countries over there. And 2013 is when I have completed, and or even before this completion, like as I was telling you, I was not um, like initially we as an ECE students, we don't get to sit on the multiple software engineering companies that uh, um, like that come to our campus, right? So we had to wait for like few months, and that too with the low CGPA, we had to like wait for like few more months to uh, at least attend the aptitude. But the good thing from me is I was able to kind of clear all the aptitude tests, like in all of the companies which I have attended. So mostly like IBM, CTS, or TCS, whichever companies come during the time. So it is most of the bulk companies and some of the individual companies as well. Like some of the product companies as well, I was able to clear the aptitude. But again, from a coding perspective, like I was not up to that level, right? And during my schooling, I took I was a biology student. I was not a computer student. And in the engineering, for me to learn the coding or like C, C++ is kind of nightmare for me, right? So, and till the final year, I was like not 100% confident on even like writing few pieces of code, right? And I kind of practiced like very few amount of code and like very few like algorithms. And luckily during my interview, like with Tesco, they have asked like one of those algorithms or data structures which I have learned, and I was able to implement that. And at that point, I felt that the interviewer was basically testing on the thought process as how I'm thinking. So I think that is how I was able to clear the test room. So there was around like 100 or like 120 people attending test interview, and I think they finally shortlisted somewhere around 4 or 5, and I was able to clear that. There were around like 4 different interview rounds which happened, I think in our campus only. Then around 2014 is when I have started, or like 2013 July is when I have started in Tesco as an associate software engineer. So there was some training which is given to us on like software development, SQL, and like all of the related things related to software life cycle, agile methodologies, and everything. And that is when I realized that okay, so all of the fun time is over. So now it is a time to actually realize and work upon the things as what we need in the real life. And that is when I started taking things seriously for the job. And I was working like pretty hard during my initial work, like initial years when everyone is working like 6 to 8 hours per day. I used to put like 10 to 12 hours per day. So because coding was kind of even nightmare for me even when I started, because when I have onboarded to the company, so there used to be repos which used to be like somewhere around 2 lakh lines of like 3 lakh lines of code. Just to understand that whole code itself as a fresher is was taking like so much time for me. So I have sought help from like seniors in the team who could help me. I have had a mentor and whom I'm still in touch with. and he has helped me on like understanding the code and just going through the entire flow. And I was able to grasp the whole thing in like 2 or 3 months, and I was able to contribute on the software development side, right? So then there were, I still remember that Tesco is an online grocery company, and that is starting the same day delivery businesses. So we were working on the picking side of it, which means that customer will place the orders online, and so our system will actually let the pickers know as what orders to pick and how it is coming. We have to actually schedule with the vans in place, drivers in place. So that is basically the system we are dealing with. And we were able to, or I was able to contribute on the development, some part of development and testing during my initial life phases or during my role with as an associate software engineer. Then in 2014, I got promoted as a software engineer, and from then on, so I was like little confident. So the moment I had my first release, so I was like little confident that as a newbie in knowing the whole code, I was able to learn the code and able to deliver things. And that is when I was like little more confident on about myself, my skills, and whatever new skills or new coding technologies or whichever coming into play. So I was able to grasp things, and also I sought help from seniors as wherever required. And I was working on like different teams in Tesco. I have worked with like 5 different teams, and 2014 to 2015, which is like less than a year, and I got promoted as a senior software engineer. And that is when like again there is a new project which was kicking in, so which was to replace an external system which we are working on. And for that whole work has been completely done in UK headquarters. So out of a 10-member team, so they sent only a couple of people to UK to work on this, and the project was around like 6 months initially. So myself and my tech lead traveled to UK, and we were able to successfully deliver that project. And again, the struggles are there, right? Going to the new country and the culture is different, coping up with the people, and all of the developers in the team are minimum of 10 years experience, and only myself with like 2 or 3 years experience during the time. So initially I was very less confident, but I was confident on my skills and experience on like how I have delivered in the past, and I have seek mentors and seniors around the same time, and I was able to progress and contribute on this project as well. And I was able to successfully deliver as whatever has been assigned to me and given to me, right? And then I had to travel to UK like multiple times during this session around 2015, 2016. And that is when I realized that, okay, let's kind of switch to the management side of it, right? That is when I started preparing for a CAT exam around 2016 time. And when I was in UK working on this crucial project with the strict timelines, I was able to prepare for the CAT exam during the same time. I was preparing for like at least 2 to 3 years every day during the night after coming back from office. And for writing my CAT exam, I was preparing when I was in UK, and for writing my CAT exam, I had to come back to India. I gave the exam, and again I went back to UK for delivering this project. And the results of this CAT exam is like not that good. I was not even able to clear the first set of filter on that. So again, it is a failure case for me. So that is when I decided, okay, so that is when one of my mentors said there is an experience, there is a management program that has been conducted by like different IIMs, and we need to gain at least like 5 years of experience for us to go into that. So during that, I realized that okay, I don't want to spend like this much amount of time and money and effort into this. So let me attain the 5 years of experience. And also there is an entrance exam for it, but it is not as difficult as CAT. Right. So then I started focusing on the actual software development and tried doing like different certificates during the course. So there is an app dynamic certification which I have done. This is morely around troubleshooting tool, and we are using AWS during that time. So, and I was the first one in my team to do this certificate. And after this, like again the whole promotion process in Tesco has been changed to, like, whenever I need to get promoted to the next level, I need to start giving interviews, right? So it is not like I'm delivering the project or I'm delivering what work has been given to me. So upon whatever work has been given to me, and if I'm doing good, so that is when manager will give a go for me to appear for the interview. Then I need to appear for the interview, which will be again like 2 to 3 rounds of like technical interview for me to get promoted to the next level. Then again I started preparing for that interviews during the time, and I was able to clear those interviews, and I got promoted as a principal software engineer in here. So around Jan 2018 is when I got promoted, and by the time I have almost attained like some 5 years of experience, starting from like July 2013 to Jan 2018. So I realized that it is going to be around 5 years in Tesco. So let's start exploring different things and exploring different companies. So initially, or even during this time around 2016, I started giving some interviews, but nothing went well. Like in almost all of the interviews which I have appeared, and in most of the interviews I was not able to clear the technical interviews because the expectation from the industry is different and the expectation from my actual work is different. So, and during that is when I realized that I was trying to fill in the gap during this time by parallelly working on the job as well. And it is not that I was not good in the technical things. I was the best employee for like couple of years during this time, but still I was not able to crack the interviews outside. So I realized that the gap in the software development expectation from the industry is different, and what we are working on is like little different. And I was trying to bridge the gap in these places or during this tenure. And I started appearing interviews starting from like June or July, August, like these 3 months. And during this time, like as I was like not 100% preparing, but whenever I get some time, I was preparing during this time. I was able to get around like 6 or 7 offers during this time, right? So by 2018 September, I had like 6 to 7 offers in my hand, and then finally I chose Microsoft. And even for Microsoft, I was like not very confident of clearing that interview. So Microsoft, I know the expectation of the technical interviews and other expectations which they have. So I was not confident that I'll clear this Microsoft interview. So I have scheduled an interview. So I didn't prepare anything. I thought, okay, let's go and see how this experience is going to be. And probably we'll try to choose the offers which I have, and I'll join some of the companies from the other offers which I have, and I'll gain some experience, and I'll also gain the expectations from Microsoft, and then probably I can take this job as an hop and move to Microsoft next is what I was thinking. But so I didn't prepare anything for the coding or like design interviews or anything of that sort in here. So then I went into the interview. With the gap or technical expertise which I was able to fill, I was able to clear that interview in here. And all of that is like mainly contributed to the base which I have built, right? So all of these years, I was not trying to hop between different companies. I was trying to understand as how each things work individually. Like when I say like stack, or like when I say queue, like how each things work, or like when I say something as list or array, so how those things like work in build is what I was trying to understand, and I have built my platform during those years. So from that point on time, I was able to clear like most of the technical interviews on here, right? So then I started working on Microsoft. I joined as an SD2. So for 5.5 years, I have joined at a level 62, which usually Microsoft gives for an year years of experience of around 8 or 10 during that time. So when I joined Microsoft team, I was a young member in the team with that level, and there were senior persons who has more experience who are below that level. So again, there's this catching up on the things strategy, right? So I was trying to catch up on the things, and I was less confident during the initial tenor, and I was able to like grasp the code with the help of people and with my previous expertise. And also I try to attend like different certifications during that time as a Scrum Master. And also during this time, I have attained like 5 years of experience. That is when, sorry. So I tried doing this executive program in business management from IIM Calcutta. I had to give like a few interviews for this IIM Calcutta, and I had to clear like some aptitude tests for this, and I was able to crack this. And parallelly working on this job, I was able to, this is a kind of part-time management course which I did from IMC. And I was very particular that when I had to do a management course, and if I'm going to do a management course, and that has to be from IIM A, B or C, is what I had thought. Because I feel like, personally, I feel like that is one of the best institutions in India, right? Then I was able to complete in like 2020 December, and I was able to parallelly progress on my software deliverables. In 2021, I got a promotion again. Then this was during the COVID time, right? COVID hit during this time. Then I was trying to take some opportunities around the startup. I wanted to be an entrepreneur like 10 or 15 years down the line. So then there was this new idea which we have got, which is more like a ClickBus, right? So how we are rendering scores and how we are writing the blogs across like different things. And we started on this, and we I was leading on that. I was more like a founder, trying to get like multiple people. So we were able to start on it, but we couldn't able to continue on it parallelly working on like a job and having day-to-day like 8 or 9 hours of job and working on this. So, and also we were facing some like finance issues and resource crunch as well. So we had to shut this like 2021 around July. We had to shut this, and that is when I started, okay, let's focus on our job and let's focus on this completely is what I was doing. Then around there were some opportunities around I expressed some opportunity or I expressed my interest with my manager that I want to move to US, and he enabled it, and that is when 2022 May I was able to move to US. So now I'm part of, as I was saying, I was part of Cloud and Azure organization. I'm part of Microsoft Financial Services. So why I have put like 3 areas or like this failures thing in this particular journey is, so life is like kind of full of ups and downs. So there are things that don't go in your way, right, at certain points. And that is when you just need to be stay consistent and just progress towards the goals, whatever you have set. So this is more from a journey perspective. So, and I also wanted to touch upon the learnings, right? As what are the learnings which I have to pass on to you as a kind of an younger generation, right? So, during this my whole tenure, I always wanted to stay on the top 10% of the people, right? Either it can be like a 10-member team or like 20-member team. I always wanted to stay on top of everything, and I felt like that is how I was able to progress this much in my career, because then um, on like doing an IMC or like AWS certificates. So these are the things which I kind of initialized on my own, and I was able to progress on it. So because I wanted to be on the top 10%, and during all of my years, I worked in Tesco for like 5 years, around 5 years, and by end of the fifth year, I was able to 5x my initial salary as what I have got, because I was trying to stay in the top 10. So, um, and also be curious about things which are happening in and around, right? It can be about the professional circle, or it can be about the whole entire world as what is happening, or kind of like recent advancements in the artificial intelligence. Try to be curious and understand what are the different things which are happening in and around. Stay on top of everything. Be seek seek knowledge out of it, right? So try to see as what experience you can gain out of it, right? And that is when just put like continuous learnings on it. So continuous learning is something which is not going to stop, especially in a world of software. So this is going to be a kind of never-ending process, right? So even as a 10-year experienced software engineer, so tomorrow if I have to work on some new programming language, I have to learn that and I have to deliver it, right? So this learning is something which is not going to stop at any place. So you have to have an open mindset, right? So that is where the growth mindset things is coming into play, right? So you always have to have an open mindset, try out different things, and if there are failures, that is fine, completely fine. Take that as a learning and see as how you can incorporate that failure into your particular experience and seek any advantage from that, right? They were saying like latest tech trends, right? Along the AI, like we have this got this Copilot for coding, and this is, I'm just talking about the software because I'm working on it. But there are like advancements which are happening in like all of the technology fields, right? So just try to stay on top of it, and also be consistent, right? So you can just go get motivated on few things, and motivation is kind of temporary, right? Once you achieve that goal, and motivation will kind of will is gone, right? And that is when try to stay consistent, and consistent across as what you necessarily want, and how probably you can set the goals, and try to be consistent across each day, or like each week or month, as how you are progressing towards that goal, right? And another critical thing like which I realized like down the line is around the time management. So time management is one critical piece as an software engineers, or even as a person, as how everyone is spending their time on. So this basically depends on the priority, as what is basically priority for us, right? Now, as you all are pre-placement, or as you all are looking for placement, the main priority for you is going to be somewhere around cracking the interviews, right? So in that way, schedule your time properly, see as where all you are spending your time, track that time, and if it is something which is not aligned with your goal, so try to reduce that particular time, right? So that is what I just wanted to stress on this time management strategy part, and growth mindset as we already talked. And this is about understanding priorities, right? So basically you can have like 100 things to do, but there can be, we have only 24 hours in a day, and with that 24 hours you can achieve only so much in that particular time. And in this time, understand as what is the priority. Just if you have like 10 list of things, sort down based on the priorities as what you have, 1, 2, 3, 4, and work on the priority items is what I would say. And procrastination is something like which I am still doing. I'm trying to learn from this, how to procrastinate less, right? So just there are like many different techniques which people are following, but this is something which I think at one point in time, every one of us will try to procrastinate on things. But procrastinate things if it is on less priority, or if it is something which is going to take like few minutes, like 5 or 10 minutes, just try to get it done, and then probably you can work on the next thing, right? So these are the learnings which I just wanted to present to you guys on this. So this is on my journey and kind of an like personal and professional learnings. So next, I just quickly touch upon the things on the Microsoft culture. Just before I start on this, like, is there any queries or questions which you guys have?
Hi, sir. I think we can go to queries after the presentation is complete.
Sure. Okay. Thanks, Satya. All right. Next thing is around the Microsoft culture. So which is around. These are the 5 different culture values which we have. One is around the growth mindset, which is about the open mindset and open for feedback, open for failures, taking the failures as a kind of stepping stone for success, and then going on top of it. So this is more around the growth mindset. And second is around the customer obsession, right? Now, as in Microsoft, or any corporate as such, we are all working for customers to get success, right? So customer success is our success, and company success is basically team success, which caters to the individual success, right? So with this, you always need to see as what are the customer expectations and how can I enhance the experience of the customer, right? So that is what this customer obsession touches on. And other thing is around results oriented, right? So as I was saying, like all of the companies work towards like generating profits, except on the NGOs, right? Now, when the company has to generate a profit, like again, it has to come from top down, right? CEOs has to be like results oriented, and the organization leader has to be results oriented. It is something like, okay, how much profit I have generated from this particular org, and it all caters down to us saying whether we have delivered this particular work or particular feature within this time. So it has to be always results oriented. So there can be personal learnings, or there will be personal and professional learnings, but it should be results oriented at the end of the day. And next thing is around collaboration. So this is basically around working with like different people around you, or working with people around you with like different sort of experience, different years of experience, or like working with juniors in the team or seniors in the team. How can you get the work done? So that can be like if we are like 10-member team, so there can be like circumstances where like 2 people are like exceeding and 2 people are like bit below the expectations. So how we can just collaborate and get things done is what is on the collaboration part. And the final thing is around the diversity in inclusion, right? So like as a team, as I'm working in US here, like there can be or there is I'm getting opportunities to work with people across like different experience and like different races, like from different countries. So how do we kind of include, right? So if I have to give an example, if an fresher is asking like some questions like which he is unaware of, so how can be inclusive of him? And there can be like some valid points from a fresher or like even from an experienced person. So how can we go more like a diverse and inclusive around this part is how. So all of these 5 points has to be go hand in hand for us to achieve the success. So that is what Microsoft culture is mostly touching upon. And next thing is around the Microsoft values. So these are the 3 Microsoft values which we have. One is around the respect, integrity, and accountability. Respect, as what we are talking about on the previous one, it is mostly about diversity and inclusiveness, and we recognize the thoughts and the different inputs which are being brought by like juniors, seniors, or managers, or leaderships in the team. And there can be differences across, right? So there can be gender differences, there can be races differences. So how do we respect everything, and how do we achieve success, right? That is on this respect part. And next is around the integrity. Like this is basically like there being honest, right? So we are all working in a corporate, so we deal with like a lot of confidential data. So how are we being like trustworthy? How are we being like ethical and honest across like different practices? There are like different laws. There are like GDPR laws, different things which are like coming into play. With all of this, how do we ensure the integrity is around the second part on the Microsoft values? The third one is around the accountability part. Accountability is if I'm giving you a work or feature or task to get it complete, how am I being accountable and get things done within that duration, right? And this accountability differs across different roles, right? So as a junior engineer, my accountability is just getting things done or getting the inputs and delivering that output, right? But for a senior person or for a manager or for a leader, so it is across like how different teams are working on. Or for a manager or a lead, so it is on like how my team is kind of delivering within that time, and if there are like any risk or any issues which are coming in, so how are we going to tackle all of this, right? So this is on the accountability part. So these are the three key Microsoft values as such. Now, just going on to the next part, like what we call at our best and what we call at not our best, right? So respect, just curious about like what other things and what about other ideas which everyone is bringing to the table, and like listening with empathy, seeking to understand, right? So this is one like big factor in when you are working in a corporate culture, right? You always seek to understand and seek any feedback and see as how you can improve on different things, right? And at the end of the day, it is all about treating everyone with dignity and on the timelines and success, just looking for a common ground and delivering things, right? And these are the things which are not at our best, which is like criticize people for being different, right? So as in human beings, we are all different, and as an as a team, there are like different individuals. They can be like completely different. So how are we accepting it? How are we not shutting down the people if they are bringing on anything, right? How are we not being defensive? Like how are we proactive in accepting things which are being coming from like different circles? So that is about the whole respecting. On the integrity, like whatever values which you have spoke earlier, just stay true to our values, see the right outcomes, being like trustworthy and speak the truth and timelines, risk, all of this is coming on integrity, which is doing our best in here. So like not out of best is like violating the policies, like as a manager or leader, misusing the authority or power, like as you can just read it over here. And like these are the things on the accountability part, as what is being on the best and what is not our best, right? Like as I was saying, if as a manager or as a lead, if I'm giving some work to you and I want you to be accountable for it and get things delivered on time, right? So that is what mostly accountability on. And for this, just seek help from others whenever you need it, or you offer help to others whenever they need a help. Just take an initiative, right? So if things are not many times things go as planned, right? So how are we tackling all of this, right? That also comes as a part of accountability, and also learning from the mistakes and failures and incorporating that. So that also comes as a part of accountability, right? So these are the things which are not out of base, which is like if someone is struggling in the team, you're doing something So just see as just standing there without offering any help, or like if some looking for excuses, or if things goes wrong, just accept that and probably see as how you can learn from that, right? So these are the things which we don't are like, which is not at the base from an accountability perspective, right? Now, coming down to the next part, what is the day at Microsoft looks like, right? So again, this differs across different roles, right? As I was saying, like there are variety of roles and variety of roles and responsibilities for each and every role. And as a junior engineer, as an like entry level software engineer, your roles and responsibilities will be like more like getting the input and like delivering it on time, right? That is just one aspect of it, and how you are collaborating with it. But for a senior engineer, it can be completely different. How we are working with others in the team, how we are working on the design of it. Have you considered all of the design considerations, or have you considered all of the input requirements? How about the scalability of it? Are you going to, so what if there is a sudden increase in load which you're going to get, right? And how about the latency of it, right? So all of these are spread across different levels, but the margin of it will be different across different roles. So for me, as an kind of tech lead at Microsoft, mine is more on like the entire features. So we get an whole different features, and we get like whole cohort, right? Let's say um, I have a 10 or 20 member team, so I will just get a 10 member team in, to me, and for the input features, like how am I designing things, like how is my design looking like, and is it like future proof, and have we considered all of the requirements, right? And how am I getting things done? Is my deliverable within the timeline? I'm also, I'm if I'm doing an incremental release, right? It is not something I just work on 6 months and deliver at 6 months, right? So as in this agile methodologies kicks in, I have to deliver it in an incremental manner, right? So all of these things comes into play for me, for my role at Microsoft, right? Then as a software lifecycle, like as most of you know, it is starting with like getting the requirements. Like we have project managers or product managers who will be giving us the requirement, and once we get the whole of the requirement, we'll just go through the requirement and have like necessary discussions with the product team and business to see as what is possible within this time, and then we accept that particular work. So we call that as a feature, or we call that as an like a set of or list of tasks, and we as a team take that task and do a design of whole thing, right? How is a design going to look like? We basically architect for like different requirements, basically the functional requirements and non-functional requirements. And once that is done, so we, as a kind of senior engineer, we have to do the design, we have to do the coding as well. But the amount of time, at least like I spent on coding, is kind of like only 2 to 3 hours per day. I have to involve in like different meetings, with discussion with business or product managers. So as we move in up the ladder, so the expectations and responsibilities change, and across different roles, right? And if you see as a junior engineer, let's say like one of you is getting placed at Microsoft next year. So for you, the expectation, so you get more time to code, right? Even I was getting more time to code during my initial days. So now that my roles and responsibilities are changed, I need to review the code which has been done by other developers in the team. I need to check the timelines. I need to do a testing. I need to focus on automation. I need to see load and performance testing as how is this looking at. So likewise, I can just go on this, but this is what like mostly software lifecycle. Just get the requirements, work on it, and once this is done, we'll just push the code, get it reviewed by a senior developer on the team, and once this is done, then basically we take on to the increase our like set of environments which we are configured, right? So we have a pre-production environments, and then once all of the testing and automation testing, functional testing is done, then we'll take the code to production where we'll release it to customers, right? So this is on the software life cycle. And like daily routine, at least for me, is like we have like few folks who are sitting in India and who are working with us from Accenture. They are our vendor partners. So I need to get things, I need to track things, getting work done from them. And also we have a cohort in our Microsoft full FTEs, which is basically full-time employees. And we have like my cohort is somewhere around like 5 or 6% in the team, right? So there are people with like 15 or 20 years experience in the cohort, and there are people with like 5 or 6 years or like even 1 or 2 years in the team, right? And I need to get things done in this. So mostly my routine is going to be like I have like list of to-dos. I kind of prioritize as what needs to be done on that particular day, and based on that I reach out to like individual people on the progress, and we have like daily stand-ups and like meetings, and basically some time to code as well, right? So this is what like mostly my day at Microsoft looks like. Now on the interview process, like one thing which I have kept in the journey is I was doing a freelance interviewing as well, or not exactly freelance interviewing, but I was kind of enrolled in a company where I was kind of getting paid for taking interviews, right? So I was taking data structures and algorithms interviews for like different companies, right? So around like 10 or 15 companies. So I'll just get the candidate's resume, and I'll just go over the things, and I'll get the requirements from the team which is recruiting as what is the requirements, and based on that I will like interview the candidate based on the set of requirements which are being asked for, right? So in that like basically, or like mostly this is what every company kind of looks in, right? So from a software point, it is more on the technical, or from an hardware, or like other domains. So this is basically technical. It's like domain specific things, right? And then basically on the problem solving. I'll just come back and touch upon this technical as what exactly I kind of expect on this technical part. And the other one is around the problem solving, right? So if I give this problem, how are they trying to solve this, right? So with all of this AI advancements like ChatGPT or Copilot things coming into play, the role of software engineers is kind of getting like redundant, or the amount of time like which we are spending on the actual coding is kind of getting reduced. So with that, the only differentiator as we people, or like we employees have with all of this AI tools is kind of how we can think differently, or how we can solve the problem, and how we can connect all of the dots, right? So that is what more on the problem solving things, right? And AI is more on like I'll just give you this, you just give me this output, right? But and as an employee, it is more on that, right? It is just connecting all of these dots and making it work together as a bundle, right? And then this is one of the skills, right? So I give you a requirement and you are working on it, or you are just coding on it. Now, for some reason, and this can be a real life scenario as well, right? So now the requirements change from A to A dash. So in this case, how am I going to adapt to this new requirements? So how am I going to change the code, right? So this is like one of criteria which every company evaluates. And the other thing is around a communication part, which is mostly around soft skills. This is more on like whatever you are thinking, how are you trying to convey, right? So whether whatever you are thinking or whatever you have in your mind, were you able to convey everything to the interviewer, or were you able to convey everything to the manager or the team, right? So this is one of the things which we kind of evaluate in the interview. And other thing is around the cultural fit, right? Every company has like different culture, and if I am taking this employee, is he going to be culturally fit? Which means if I'm taking him or her, so is he going to be adaptable in the team? Is he going to be collaborative with like different folks in the team, right? So this is one of the search criteria which like most of the companies evaluate, right? Now coming to the hiring process, like this is different across like different companies. I can just give you a small brief about Microsoft, and I'm not sure, I'm not keeping up to date with this. I'm not sure if something has changed like very recently, but so we mostly have an like a written coding test, and then which is followed by like around 3 to 4 rounds of interview, and then there will be going to be a HR round, basically kind of 4 to 6 6 different steps in the interview, depending on which teams and which organization you're going to go with. And again, this can be different across different organizations at Microsoft, right? And each team can have like different qualifications. So this is basically the job description, right? So some can be like a full stack, or some can be kind of a back-end engineer, or some can be more like an kind of Hadoop, or like from a database, right? So each of these qualifications and job descriptions are different across, right? Now, I just wanted to touch upon the intern opportunities as well, because I think as an like pre-final year student or final year student, it gives you a different experience altogether if you do an internship. So that is when you can just see as how you can get an real life experience how people are working in the actual domain. So this can be with technical things, or it can be with non-technical things. But this is where you kind of try to fill in that gap, right? Because all this while you have read everything in pen and paper, where you have read everything and doing some lab experience, but when the reality is when you actually get to implement things in real life, right? So that is where like I suggest like most of my mentees as well to do intern, and like at least even if you're not getting in the companies which you're expecting, try to do in some fields where you are getting that particular opportunity, right? And the benefits and perks, yeah, like as in Microsoft as a whole, we get like basically, I think most of you are aware, but in case some of you are not aware, we get the base pay, we get stock options, and we get like different benefits. Like we get fitness benefits where they'll give like X amount per year, and you can try to reimburse for like business benefits, and they'll give like insurance and like whatnot, right? So basically, they'll try to cover and cover for everything. Like most of the things which an employee expects from a health insurance perspective, or like from a fitness perspective, or from an enable, like if we want to partly proceed with like any part-time studies, right? So as I was saying, like I was doing this IIM course, and some part of that my like company was able to sponsor that, right? So they have enabled me on that. So I spent like only some amount of the whole fees, right? So like company will take care of like the benefits and perks, and again this differs by like company to company, but this is on a whole as how what the interview process is going to be. And on the technical things, so basically there are, as most of the companies are looking onto the data structures and algorithms, so that has become a norm right now, but things are changing these days. But mostly I think even when I was doing this freelancing thing, so mostly we get to evaluate people on this data structure and algorithms, and how they are proceeding with this, how they are understanding the idea. So it is not that you are completing this whole code, but at each step, what are your thought process going to be? How are you thinking from a problem solving perspective? Are you thinking of an end-to-end perspective, covering all of the validations, so covering all of the edge case scenarios is what most of us evaluate as in the part of technical. Now, this is the last slide. I'm not holding you any further time. So this is the last slide which we have. So it's mostly on the self-reflection, right? So as a person, see as what you wanted to achieve, right? If you're in pre-final year, so you wanted to get placement in some good companies. So that is just one kind of reflection, right? So likewise, see as what exactly do you need, right? This is when you you will be realizing as what exactly your needs are, right? Once you address or once you find all of your needs, then just put it as a goal, right? Put it as a short-term goal or like a kind of a long-term goal, and these goals also should be kind of an achievable target, right? So in industry terms, we call it as an smart. So where we put it as an achievable target, which is measurable and which can be achieved within their fixed tenor, right? So have some short-term goals. Short-term goals can be like, okay, within 3 months or within 6 months, I need to get placed, right? Our long-term goal can be something like in financial freedom. I need to attain financial freedom by the age of 25, right? So I was just throwing some examples on this. But once you identify this, then probably set the goals for yourself as what you need, and then on the mentoring part, right? So lot many times you may not be able to meet the time, or like you may not be able to see as how you are progressing, and that is when you might need like some help, and just choose any mentor who like works closely with you, who kind of gives you proactive feedback, and who can kind of makes you a better person in here, right? So that is on choosing mentor, and this is a very crucial part in either on a software development or in a life experience as well. So I suggest everyone to kind of have a mentor and seek advice and feedback as whenever necessary, right? These days, like there are like lot of portals where people are offering like a free mentorship and things. You can try to seek mentors on this, and also try to establish like different networks. This is more on like expanding your professional network and personal network as well. So at the end of the day, you need to have like different experience altogether in life, right? So how are you going to expand your network, right? It can be professional, right? It can be something to do it in a LinkedIn network, or it can be something to do with an Insta network, or like adding a Facebook, expanding Facebook network. But just see whenever you're doing this, if it is going to really, everything is kind of going to be aligned with this goal. If I'm expanding this network, whether it is going to be help me to achieve this goals, right? So all of these, you need to focus on this one particular thing, which is around the goals. That's how we are going to establish, or how we are going to make this goals a success. And next is as pursuing internship, and as we have already talked about, like gaining some work experience. And this one, as we have talked about, managing time effectively, right? So as a college student, you have like lot of time, right? So you have like only 5 or 6 hours of class, and after that you have like lot of time. See how you can use this proactively and effectively, and see as how you can meet these goals by managing this time, and prioritize tasks, as I was saying. Prioritize tasks as what you need. Prioritize from like 1 to 10, and take the top priority task and deal with it. And lot many things we kind of deal with failures, right? So we kind of attend an interview and it might not go well. So you will kind of fail in that particular thing. But just take that as a positive note. See as what you can learn from that failures, and see do a self-reflection again. Just once you met with a failure, and do a self-reflection and try to achieve this goal, and add it in the goals, and then probably try to achieve it, right? And like from my personal experience, if I have to tell, so before cracking like a Tesco, during my college placements, I attended like 10 to 15 companies, and I didn't clear like any of those placements, right? So that is something which I kind of learned from my personal experience, right? This is not the end of the world. So you just keep on going with it, be consistent with whatever you want to achieve, and deal with this failures. Seek feedback from that. And other thing is around the soft skills, um, like technical skills or hard skills are more on whatever technologies which you're working on, but also focus on the soft skills part, which every person I feel has to, or it's kind of an integral part of every role, right? And then embrace the changes, right? So that can be different changes, and you need to see as how you are accepting those changes and how you are taking that to a next level, right? So just embrace the changes and get those opportunities, make that opportunities, and just make it as an success and achieve our goals, right? This can be both personal and professional goals. Yeah, so mostly this is what I just wanted to cover. So probably I can just quickly go back, see if we have like any questions or queries.
Hi guys, so if you have any queries, feel free to unmute and ask. If not, you are also welcome to put it in the chat.
Yeah, and also at any point in time, like if you want to reach out to me and seeking like any help, I just put my LinkedIn profile over here. You can just connect with me and just ping me in here. Maybe the replies might be late, but I'll be able to get back to you and like offer any help if needed.
I have a doubt.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
Ananda, please go ahead.
Yeah, my doubt is actually, as you said, being a fresher, like, will they test only on our DSA skills and only on a problem solving, or else they will also check if we have done any projects or something? Like, being an ECE student, I don't get to do that. I don't have that much exposure on projects, IT projects. So
yeah. So like as I was saying, Anandita, like it is basically the job description, right? As what roles they are trying to recruit you for, right? So it can be something from a testing, or it can be an automation testing, or it can be on a role. So each of these kind of differs. But as an ECE, like what I would suggest is, um, because as we know, as an ECE, like only few of us get to go into the tech companies, and rest all people we kind of need to like move into the software related jobs. With that in place, like try to modify your resume according to it, and see if there are any things which, or any projects which you need to add, which might help you stand out in compared to other resumes, right? So the first part is kind of resume filtering, right? And that is where you need to see as how you can stand out by having the content in your resume, and add the projects, add an easy project as well which you have done, and also add some experience or relevant experience or whatever skills you possess in the software. So that is going to help. So just keep both the things in handy is what I would say, Anandita.
okay, so can you just tell me how to do these projects, like the topics from where I can do like that?
Sure, Ananda. Like it all depends on like on the future goals, or like the what companies you are focusing on, right? So like if I have to take like top tech companies like Amazon or Google or Microsoft, in this like they expect like mostly on data structures and algorithms. So we have like lot many different portals where we just go and practice like different problems, and spend some time on. And also there are like some competitive programming things. So if you personally feel that will help you, and it will help you stand out from the crowd, and I would suggest just do that. And it can be like as simple as like just starting with a normal basic program, or like just developing a small game of like a tic-tac-toe, right? So where you just try to write some code and see as how things work, right? So these are the small things as an college graduate, or like pursuing pre-final year. You can just put things on your resume.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So I think we have. I think we can close the session for now, sir. I'm very sure if anyone has any doubts, they will definitely reach out to you on LinkedIn. I will tell the I'll tell Ruben and the ECE officials to also put up your profile details in the ECE community WhatsApp group as well, so that anybody, when they need, will be able to reach out to you. So, on behalf of everyone here and all those who are going to watch this recording who couldn't make it today, I thank you so much for taking your time out from Redmond in California to sit and give us all this wonderful insight into both moving into a tech company from ECE. So it's been a wonderful session. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arkan, and it is like a pleasure interacting with like all of you folks. Thanks so much. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn if you need any help. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, sir.